Emmerson Resources, ASX code ERM. The company has a market cap of approximately 30 million. Emmerson Resources has a commanding land position and is exploring the Tennant Creek mineral field in Northern Territory, one of Australia's highest grade copper and gold fields. Presenting for the company today is Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer Mike Dunbar. Mike, welcome to the network, and please take it away.
Thanks very much for that, and hopefully you can hear me this time. So yes, we are working in two main project areas. So if we could move to the next slide, please. We've just quickly run past the disclaimer, but that will be on the website. So what makes Emmerson different? We are a Australian-focused copper and gold explorer. We have a commanding position in one of the highest grade gold fields in the Tennant Creek Goldfield. We've got a joint venture partner in Tennant Mining who has commenced the construction of the processing facility that will treat our material. And the strategic alliance sees us funded to a cash flow from a 6% gross production royalty from our deposits. So move to the next slide, please. The key highlights really are six main highlights. The high-grade nature of our resources. We've got around about 375,000 ounces at 5.2 grams per tonne of gold in resource. In March, we've announced an initial ore reserve of just under 80,000 ounces. High-grade, we are in the right address, not only in our Tennant Creek district where we're exploring aggressively, but also in the Macquarie Arc in New South Wales, where we also have a very large land position of approximately 500 square kilometres. We are well funded, and the exploration activities are funded through the joint venture and our joint venture partner earning into the property. We've got an experienced board and management team and a growth pathway through the additional funds that our joint venture partner needs to expend on the property, as well as our existing cash reserves ourselves of approximately 3.2 million at the end of last quarter. Part of that sees us moving towards a royalty business moving forward, where we'll get a 6% gross production royalty from our ground. Moving to the next slide, please. So you'll see where our main two project areas are: Tennant Creek in Northern Territory and projects in New South Wales. I'll focus most of my time in Tennant Creek, but very quickly moving forward to our projects in the Macquarie Arc in New South Wales. We have three main project areas: Fiola to the south, which is south of the Cadia, very large porphyry copper gold system at Cadia. We've got the Wellington project to the north, which is near Alkane's Boda porphyry discoveries. And to the east, to the west rather, we have got the Cadungalan Firefield project area, which is abuts the Rimfire scandium discoveries that they're making out in New South Wales at the moment. So it is an area of large exploration companies, large developments and large projects. But moving on to our Tennant Creek district primarily, excuse me, we do hold a commanding land position. That's largely as a result of us being in the district since 2007. The area we're focusing on is not undercover, and it is outcropping or subcropping material centred around Tennant Creek. Moving to the next slide, please. Moving to the next slide, please. So our tenement package of approximately 1,800 square kilometres, we are exploring partly in joint venture with our joint venture partner Tennant Mining, who are funding $10.5 million of exploration on the ground. That also provides a mining and processing joint venture, which, as I mentioned, we get a 6% gross production royalty from material mined from our tenements and processed through Tennant Mining's CIL processing facility that they have commenced construction on, and in fact were announced last week that they have commenced construction. Moving to the next slide, please. So Tennant have commenced construction. Just moving forward, please. You'll see As a result of the joint ventures, we've got a very low risk development path where we have no exposure to the costs, escalation or operating costs of any operation. Our joint venture partner has commenced construction of a processing facility, which will be approximately 840,000 tonnes per annum, and treat ore from their projects, but also our projects. That's scheduled for commissioning in 2025, in Q2 of 2025, and commercial production they're forecasting in Q3 of next year. As I mentioned, we are free carried through a 6% gross production royalty on the joint venture projects. We have an initial reserve of approximately 80,000 ounces. And the important thing about those 80,000 ounces is based on those probable reserves only, the royalty of 6% at the current gold price equates to approximately $16.5 million of returns to Emmerson. In addition to the royalties that we do have, there is also a minimum production hurdle that sees Emmerson guaranteed at least 6% of 60,000 ounces, which at today's gold price is approximately $12.5 million. And that would be a little bit comes in March of 2026, and the remainder starts coming in from May 2026. So a fantastic position for us to be in. But if we move forward, the royalties really are, and the ore reserves we have really are just the start. The Golden 40 deposit, the resources are growing rapidly. In the last 5 weeks, we've added the Golden 40 resource, which is 130,000 ounces at 4.5 grams, including a very high grade 77,000 ounces at approximately 9 grams per tonne. And just last week, we announced the Eldorado resource of just a shade under 70,000 ounces at 4.9, which included a very, very high grade, 2 very high grade lodes at depth for a combined 34,000 ounces, running an incredible 67 grams per tonne. So over 2 ounces per tonne for those loads at Eldorado. So when you consider we've added 200,000 ounces of resource in the last 5 weeks, of which approximately 170,000 ounces at 5.3 grams is classified as indicated and can be converted to ore reserves with additional development studies. Clearly, the royalties that we currently have of 80,000 ounces is going to grow. The 80,000 ounces we have, as I mentioned, is approximately $16.5 million worth of royalties at today's price. So just on the resources we have and the indicated resources that currently are not included in the mine plan or the royalty calculations, there is substantial additional royalty revenue that will be coming into the company. Moving forward, please. Looking very quickly at the challenges of exploring at Tennant Creek, the deposits are relatively modest in size. However, the grade of the systems is quite incredible. From Warrego, for example, running about 9 grams and 2% copper. Noble's Knob approximately 16 grams, Gecko 4% copper, and the White Devil project 15 grams. Really, just highlights the potential of these high-grade systems, and they do grow once you get into production and start mining. They certainly do grow. So if we're moving forward, please. How do we explore for these systems? And the answer has been historically using magnetics. Magnetics, broad-spaced magnetics, you are challenged to find these modest-sized discoveries with those types of magnetic surveys. So we've done a huge amount of drone magnetic surveys. Moving forward, please. You can see what the magnetics did look like, and then with the overlay of the drone magnetics over the top, you can really see a number of targets. Moving just forward a little bit, please. You'll see a structural corridor running through there, and you can see a number of targets that have been drilled and have been mined, but you can also identify a number of high-grade targets there as well. Moving forward to the northern area, which again, you can see with the new drone magnetics, a remarkable change from the historical magnetic data set, and really has highlighted a number of targets. And you can see a number of targets identified there. Troy, for example, is a very high-grade copper opportunity with approximately 60 metres at 2.5% copper in that. That is within the joint venture, but outside the joint venture are a number of areas we're exploring 100% ourselves, including the Hermitage project. So moving to the next slide, please. You can see Hermitage here. It was a discovery we made in 2021. Some very, very high-grade, wide zones of mineralisation that we've identified, including the discovery hole of 119 metres at 3.3% copper and 0.9% grams gold, rather, and followed up with diamond drilling of 94 metres at 2.4 and 5.5 grams gold. So some very, very significant drill intersections. That drilling is open up plunge to the east, down plunge to the west, and from the drilling we've done to date, we've identified that there is a low angle fault that we've now drilled underneath and hit mineralisation below. So it's open at depth as well. Moving forward, a very quick snapshot of our capital structure. I won't dwell on that, but moving forward to the last slide, please. And really, in summary, where are Emmerson? What are we doing? We're exploring and unlocking the value of our high-grade copper and gold deposits within our joint ventures in the Tennant Creek district, as well as the areas where we are working ourselves on. We've got an emerging gold business with 6% gross production royalty that will come in, a number of exploration targets on our 100% owned ground and the joint venture, and we're well funded with approximately $77 million of exploration firepower until the royalties start to flow towards us, and a minimum production payment due in 2026 of approximately $12 million. So we are in a very strong position, and it's an exciting time for the company with the construction of the mill commencing.
Okay, Mike, thank you for that. Yes, it looks like you have the company has progressed quite substantially now. I've got a quick couple of questions before you go. In terms of, you spoke briefly about the balance sheet. You also spoke about the royalty stream. Is it fair to say that given the current state of the balance sheet and the royalty stream that we're looking at here, does that mean the company's now essentially funded until first cash flow?
Yes, we believe so. Yes. Yeah. The joint venture partner is building the project, as I mentioned. They are building that, and that will be in operation in Q2 of next year and commercial production in Q3. Our royalties and our deposits won't be mined straight away, but they'll be mined very soon after. Certainly some of them will be. And we also have the minimum production payment that will be due to us in Q1 and Q2 of 2026. So yes, we believe we're funded through at this stage. So a very healthy position to be in, that's for sure.
Okay, and you talked a little bit about development studies. Can I ask what is the status of the development studies at the moment with regards to advancing Eldorado?
Yeah, look, Eldorado and Golden 40, that both of those are high-grade discovery or deposits close to where the processing plant is being built. The joint venture partner and ourselves will work on those studies. We've only just finished the resource on Eldorado and announced it last week. So it's a little bit premature to be talking about when we'll start mining that. We need to do some of the studies first. But we've got a very good understanding of all of our deposits in the field because we've been there for so long. And we've got an amazing data set of historical mining data for Eldorado because some of the upper portions were mined previously. So we've got some good data sets to build on, and we'll work through those studies in the coming quarter. And we're hoping to get through to a scoping study on Golden 40 and hopefully also Eldorado in the coming quarter.
Okay, and just to wrap it up, one more. What can we expect in terms of news flow in the sort of immediate future, as it were? So over the sort of the remainder of the year, 2024, what are perhaps some of the big announcements we should be looking for?
Yeah, look, a number of the announcements that people should be looking for are firstly a number of drill campaigns we have planned for the latter part of the year. Tennant Creek has had an incredible wet season, which has dragged on far longer than normal. And in fact, one of the stations in our region had 1.5 metres of rain. So it's been far wetter and a slower start than we normally would have liked. But we are planning about 3 drill programs towards the back end of the year, as well as the other things to look for will be the scoping studies that we're working on at Golden 40 and El Dorado, as well as we're hoping to provide some updates on how our joint venture partner is progressing with the construction as well.
All right, Mike, thank you for that today, and thank you for your time. Please do have a great weekend, and hopefully we get you back again soon.